Hey nieces and nephews, it's your Cora-chan Jessie. It is quarantine time. I am locked down here in my house in New Jersey, so I felt like just putting on some makeup and making a video for you guys. So I am jumping on here today to talk about the upcoming election and what that means for your student loans. I am not going to be making a biased video. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm just going to go over the main candidates in the running right now and what they are proposing for their specific student loan reform. It's important that you know this stuff as voters, as student loan borrowers. There is going to be big changes. No matter who is going to be in office next, there will be changes on how the government is handling this student loan crisis. So it's up to all of us to go out there, vote, and make our voices heard. And I'm just simply here to give you the information so you can make an informed choice on who you want to see in office and what plan you would like to have for your student loans. Let's start with the Democratic candidates. We all know Bernie Sanders' plan. There's only two Democratic candidates really left in the race as far as which one will be the candidate to go against Trump. So right now it's looking like it will be either Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders. Joe Biden's currently in the lead, but Bernie's holding some weight there. So I'm going to go over his proposal, Joe Biden's proposal, and Trump's proposal for their student loan reform. All right, so I'm going to start with Bernie Sanders. We all know his plan is to totally, completely wipe out all student loan debt, forgive, cancel everything, all $1.6 trillion of federal student loans and private. So it is a big change for him to put into place. I'm going to go over the top 5 things in his proposal. 1, to cancel all student loan debt. 2 is that he would like for the government to give money to schools to make it so that higher education is completely free for all, no matter what kind of school you go to. So he is for free higher education for all. Number 3, he wants to cap student loan interest rate at 1.88%. So you would not have higher interest rates than that if you needed a student loan going forward. Also, number 4, he wants to invest $1.3 billion annually to HBCUs. If you don't know what that is, that's a historically black college and university. He wants to annually invest 1.3 billion into those. And then also 5, he wants to increase Pell grant money. Grant money is money that you do not need to pay back. Typically, Pell grants are for financially needy. And he wants to increase that. Right now it's about $6,000 a year that students could qualify for. He would like to double that and help have it pay for other things outside of just tuition, like laptops and books. So Bernie's plan is definitely the most radical. It would be the biggest change for all borrowers and also students moving forward if we were able to get free education. Elizabeth Warren had a similar plan. She didn't have quite 100% forgiveness, but she wanted to forgive most student loans. The way that Bernie proposes that this plan is paid for, because it will be obviously expensive, is something called the Wall Street speculation tax. So basically, tax-paying stock traders would be paying for this by doing a 0.5% fee on stock trades, a 0.1% fee on bonds, and a 0.005% fee on derivatives. So for most of us, that's probably mumbo jumbo, because if you are worried about your student loans, you're probably not investing quite yet. So this would really be on Wall Street and tax-paying stock traders to pay. So Bernie's plan is pretty simple, straightforward: cancel all debt, and then a bunch of other goodies in there, like investing annually into the HBCUs and giving more Pell Grant money. Joe Biden's plan, he's currently in the lead to be the Democratic candidate to go up against Trump. His plan is not in favor of canceling or forgiving all student loan debt, but there is quite a bit of reform that he proposes. So I'll go over the main points of that. The first and the best thing is that he would like to simplify and lower the payments for everybody on income-based payments. Currently, there's about 4 or 5 different repayment plans under income based. So there's several. There's repay, pay, income driven, income contingent, income based. There's so many, and it can be confusing as a borrower which one to choose. So he wants to simplify it. And basically, what his plan would be is if you make $25,000 a year or less, your payment is $0 a month, and there would be no interest on top of that. It's just $0 until you can start making more money. Once you start making over $25,000 a year, then you would have to pay 5% of your discretionary income as your monthly payment. So that is very low. The current formula that they use for income-based plans is usually 10% or more of your discretionary income that you pay as a monthly payment. So if your current payment is $200 a month and you're on an income-based plan, essentially that would be cut in half under Joe Biden's plan. Also, he is in favor of making student loans dischargeable in bankruptcy. So right now it's nearly impossible to discharge your student loans with bankruptcy. He is proposing that it would be possible. Also, just like the current income-based plans, right now most of them offer forgiveness after 20 years of payments. Biden says that he would keep that, and after 20 years of making these 5% payments, then you would be able to get forgiveness as well. He does not support free college for all, but he does support 2 years of free community college. So that is a start in the right direction. 2 years of free community college. He's also in favor of more Pell Grant money being available. Right now, like I mentioned, it's about $6,000 a year, so it does not cover much. And that is the grant money is the only money you do not have to pay back. And then also he would get rid of the public service loan forgiveness plan and then replace it with a new plan, which is pretty exciting. Under his new plan that he proposes, you would be able to get up to $10,000 a year of forgiveness towards your student loans for any national or community service, even if it was in the past. So it would be retroactive if you can show that you've done community service for any amount of time in the past. You would be able to get up to $50,000. So you can get $10,000 a year for up to 5 years. So everybody would be able to get essentially up to $50,000 forgiveness in this manner, which would include a whole lot more people than the current public service loan forgiveness. That is really just for government workers and for people in certain types of positions. This would be for anybody willing to do national or community service. Now for Biden, his plan is just for federal student loans only, not for private student loans. That's part of what makes Bernie's plan so radical, is that it includes private student loans, which are typically, off limits for the government to control. But his plan, he says that he will be able to do it. So for Biden, he plans to pay for his plan by closing a tax loophole there is for inherited property and by capping itemized deductions for the wealthy. And lastly is Trump. If Trump is reelected, he does have some reform that he says that he would do. It's pretty limited compared to the other two candidates' plan, but it does include some pretty big changes. He would completely get rid of the public service loan forgiveness, just completely eliminate it. And instead, he says he would rather see student loans forgiven after 15 years of payments. Right now, it's about 20 years, 20 to 25 years if you're on an income-based plan. So he would lower that down to 15 years. However, he would raise the percentage that you pay while you're on an income-based plan. So right now, it's usually 10% of your discretionary income that you pay. With Trump's new plan, you would pay 12.5%. But you will get that forgiveness 5 years early. Also, he says that he would like to eliminate subsidized student loans completely, which subsidized student loans are typically for the financially needy, and they're loans that don't accumulate interest while that student is in school. The interest is paid for by the government. So he proposes to eliminate those, which I think would kind of be bad for students in school. And then also he is in favor of expanding the eligibility for the Pell Grant. So that's something that all three candidates are in favor of, to increase the free money given out by the government. And then also he says that he would include extra discretionary funding to HBCUs. So not quite as specific or big of a promise as Bernie Sanders, but he does include the mention of funding, extra funding to HBCUs. He also says that he would limit student loan amounts for graduate students and parents so that they're not taking on, that they won't be able to take on so much debt that it becomes a burden. But that is pretty much all he has under his plans for student loans. So no matter what candidate, like I said, that gets into office for this new election, there will be changes for sure, no matter who gets it. Trump has some small changes. Biden kind of is in the middle of the road there, and then of course Sanders will be the biggest changes. And they all have different ways of proposing how they pay for it and what will be done to complete those missions. So that is the information, and those are your choices. So hopefully this gave you some clear information on each one of those candidates and what they're proposing. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to shoot me an email at jessie.seren@gmail.com. I'm always able to do one-on-one consultations with you to go into your specific situation. And also, if you've learned something from this video, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I have a lot more information coming up, especially with this corona stuff and how that is affecting student loans. That will be the next video, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks, guys.